You know that feeling? A security alert fires, and bam, the clock starts ticking. For a lot of teams, that's the start of a total scramble. Well, today, we're going to break down a really powerful framework that's designed to bring some serious, repeatable order to that chaos. Let's dive in and see how it can completely transform your security response. Seriously, take a second. Think about your own process right now. When an incident hits, is it this well-oiled machine? Or is it more of a frantic, all hands on deck, what do we do now kind of situation? If you're nodding along with that second one, trust me, you are not alone. So let's start by painting a picture of that before state, what I like to call the response chaos. This is that all too common world of frantic energy, wasted time, and honestly, inconsistent actions that just plagues so many teams when a crisis hits. And here's the core flaw with most traditional models. They make you play this guessing game right at the start. Is this malware? Is it a phishing attempt? A full-blown breach? You end up wasting precious minutes, sometimes even hours, just trying to stick a label on the problem before you can even start to fix it. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through that chaos, then introduce the AMI3A framework and its core process, and finally, we'll cover the huge advantages it brings to the table. All right, let's get to the solution, the AMI3A framework. This is a model that basically flips that old clunky approach on its head. It's designed to give you a constant, reliable process you can count on, no matter what kind of curveball gets thrown your way. You can really see the philosophical shift right here. Instead of that guess first, then act model, with AMI3A, you're always asking the same set of questions and always acting with the same loop. You go from this inconsistent reactive mess to a constant proactive operation. That builds muscle memory and, maybe most importantly, gives you results you can actually measure. So, let's get into the nuts and bolts. We're going to dive into the absolute core of the framework. It's this simple, repeatable mantra that makes the whole thing so incredibly effective. The very first question you always ask looks to the past. Am I vulnerable? And listen, this is not just about whether you've applied the latest patches. It's about any existing weakness, a software flaw, a bad configuration, a gap in your design, anything that makes up your attack surface right now. It all boils down to the simple truth, right? You can't protect what you don't even know is broken. I mean, a server could be fully patched, but if it's sitting there with default admin credentials, it's still wide open. This question forces you to see that complete picture of all your weaknesses. And here's the beauty of it. For every question, there's a matching action loop. It's analyze, act, and assure. So for a vulnerability, you analyze the details of the flaw, you act to patch it or put in a mitigating control, and then you assure that the fix actually worked and that hole is really truly closed. Okay, so we've looked at the past. Now let's pull our focus into the present moment. The second question is, am I under attack? This is all about what's happening right now. Is someone actively trying to exploit a weakness? Are they trying to deliver a malicious payload this very second? Why does this matter so much? Because it's all about speed. Attackers don't wait around for you to figure things out. Making the right call in just a few minutes, is this real or a false positive? Do I block it? That can be the difference between a minor blip and a full-blown catastrophe. So, in the heat of the moment, with all that noise, how do you know for sure that an attack is actually malicious? How do you make that call? Well, the framework gives you a simple rule of thumb, and it all revolves around this number. It's a concept called the 3 sins, short for security indicators. Think of it like this. When you can find 3 separate, independent pieces of evidence all pointing to malicious intent, say a suspicious IP, a malicious payload, and a weird access pattern, boom, you've got your smoking gun. You can act, and you can act with confidence. And the action loop here has to be fast. You analyze the attack to find your 3 sins. You act decisively to shut down the source and build new protections. And then you assure that the attack has actually stopped, all while keeping a close eye out to see if they try to come back a different way. And that brings us to our third and, honestly, most critical question. This one looks at both the past and the future. Am I compromised? Did an attacker already get through? Have they already messed with your confidentiality, integrity, or availability? You know, a compromise isn't just a simple yes or no. It's a spectrum. Did they just peek at some data? Or did they install a permanent backdoor? Understanding the full scope of that breach, what they touched, what they changed, and when, that is what defines your entire path to recovery. So naturally, this is the most intensive action loop of them all. You analyze the full scope of the breach.
You act to contain the damage, eradicate the attacker's foothold, and recover your systems. And then you assure that they are gone for good and that new protections are in place to keep them from getting back in.
So, what happens when you put all of this together? You get a universal advantage that absolutely transforms your security operations. The reason this framework works so well is that it's built on a constant, repeatable process.
I mean, think about the ultimate stress test, what I call the OMG scenario. You discover you're vulnerable, you're actively being attacked, and you realize you're already compromised, all at the exact same time. This is where AMI3A really shines, because the process is constant. Your team can assess all three states in parallel, running a coordinated response that tackles everything at once.
The advantages here are just so clear. It's universal. The questions don't change whether you're handling a simple phishing email or a sophisticated nation-state attack. It creates measurable outcomes you can track. It scales from a single analyst working alone to a massive coordinated team. And maybe best of all, every single time you run through the loop, your team gets smarter. So, the bottom line is this. AMI3A is the thing that takes you from that frantic, reactive chaos we started with and moves you into a world of proactive, structured, and frankly, confident security operations. I'll just leave you with this final thought. Your next security alert could literally pop up in the next 5 minutes. By always asking, am I vulnerable? Am I under attack? Am I compromised? Is your team truly ready to answer?